Welcome to Compassing the Commission. I'm your host, Bo Carver, and our mission is to help navigate the lost or the misguided to freedom using Jesus as the compass. And on this episode, we have a special guest, Bea Kaye, and that's Beakaye, and she has written a book called Train Her Up, and it's about a wounded sexual abuse to joyful prayer warrior. So, what a perfect candidate for what our mission is. And uh, we want to get right into it. First of all, we want to say that out of respect to her mom and some others, she has chosen to be off camera, and that's fine because the message is more important than the look. Even though she's a very beautiful lady, you have to just deal with me. Okay, and I've got here to the left of me a place where you can check the book out, and this is what the book looks like. Train Her Up is what the title of the book is. Train Her Up. Uh, B, welcome to the broadcast. Appreciate you being a part of this mission that we have. And before we get started, where can you say they can find the book?
It's on Amazon. However, there is a little glitch going on. You have to Google it.
Google it.
Google it. Train Her Up Wounded to Warrior by Bea Kaye, and it'll take you to Amazon and you can buy the book there.
I've seen that a lot for items that I'm looking up, and then they'll show go to Amazon. So repeat that one more time.
You can go to Google or any search bar for that matter and Train Her Up Wounded to Warrior by Bea Kaye.
And that's Beakaye. So let's just get right into it. So, what made you decide to write this book and with your story?
Okay, if you show them the back of the book,
Okay.
I asked God, what is my purpose? And I didn't hear an answer. But the next night or two, I had this dream of a little girl swinging. She's probably about 4 or 5 years old, and she had this joy on her face of just happiness. And she's swinging over this treacherous rocks and danger. And I woke up and I was like, she's in danger and she doesn't even know it. And then I asked God, God, was that dream from you? And I heard yes. And I was like, what? And he said, that's your purpose. And I was like, what? And he says, write your story. So this book is a effort of my story, and he gave me the title, Train Her Up. So,
well, this is I know that it took a lot of courage to do that, and I'm glad that you did that because it's a powerful book, and we're going to get into it. Oh, she's getting a phone call.
hello? What? Oh, I got to go. I have to tell everyone. Did you know every 9 minutes authorities have enough evidence to take action for a child being sexually abused? Well, despite my abuse, I became a warrior. I grew up in a middle class family with two younger brothers where we hung out and camped with aunts and uncles, and uh, the cousins hiked and swam and built forts together while adults competed in games of pinochle and dominoes. The camaraderie seemed to create a family atmosphere never to forget. Well, that fun family atmosphere led my mom to believe she could lean on them in times of need. My caring mother believed she protected me, but I was one of those 9-minute statistics. Worse yet, by a family member. Well, despite the abuse, I made it through quite successfully, some might say. I've been married for 47 years to an amazing Marine who is a judge. With 3 grown children, 1 adopted, and many fostered. I have a master's degree in social work. I've run a successful business for 26 years. We are prayer ministers at our church. We teach classes in marriage and finance. And now I'm the author of this book, Train Her Up. However, it did not come easy. Flashback to the 1950s when I was in diapers. My relatives offered to care for me. That was when my uncle told my aunt, "You go to the store. I got this." He was all too eager to help. What may seem ironic, as a child, he was my favorite uncle, perhaps due to all the extra attention he gave me, like special gifts, favoritism. He was the fun uncle in my eyes. My mom, as a young mother, watched my pre adolescent moody behavior, outburst of emotions, and physical troubles, thinking, well, they're just a part of growing up. However, common to sexually abused children are a trail of certain characteristics that I had. I was very distractible. Thus, my school performance was lower than I was capable of. I thought very little of myself, very poor self esteem, struggled with my weight, and depression. As an adult, why was I abusing my body with food? Trying to mask my depression, perhaps. As I look back, I realized I was cocooning myself so I could feel safe. As I took the mind numbing substances away, the food, through a 12-step program, I prayed, I give up, God. Mold me and make me into who you want me to be. Then the memories began flooding back to my mind. Memories of my uncle taking me into the shadows with the baby oil. He got excited at the sight of an undiapered baby girl. That was when the abuse began, and these atrocities happened several times throughout my childhood by him, which left me the victim. Even though I thought of him as my favorite uncle, he was very scary. I remember being at his house with his sons who were misbehaving. He screamed at them and picked up the 6-year-old by the back of his shirt and kicked him. I remember being so scared that he might do that to me. I vowed I would never make him mad at me. I would do whatever he asked me to do. I was spiritually tagged to be his sex slave. How did I ever escape? As an adult, I cried out to God, "Why? How could you allow this to happen to me, a defenseless child? Why, God?" Well, he led me to an answer with a vision of my first abuse. God showed me that as I took the abuse, Jesus was with me. Wait, what? He took the abuse too? Matthew 25:40 says, "Inasmuch as ye have done it unto the least of these, you have done it unto me." That's Jesus. My mind immediately went to the whole world with so many victims. How much Jesus must have had to suffer because of what hurting people do to hurt others, not to mention the mere evil out there. Isaiah 53:5 had a whole new meaning to me. He was wounded for our transgressions. There are so many. How can Jesus bear all that pain? I dropped to my knees in worship of how a king could love me so much. My heart felt so hard for my Jesus that no one could ever talk me out of loving him. Then he revealed to me that I was no longer a reject to be used and abused. Jesus cut those tags right off of me. I have a new identity. I am the daughter of the king, and he has my picture in his wallet. God led me through healing, which is further detailed in my book, Train Her Up. Little did I realize, though, I'm not alone. 1 in 3 girls and 1 in 4 boys are sexually abused before they reach the age of 18, which then leads to repeat abuse. Those already victimized are tagged or then trained up, are abused over and over again. There was a study done years ago that confirms this trend. A pedophile was asked to observe many foster children in a play yard while he was inside a nearby building behind a window. After a few minutes, he was asked, "Which children would you want to be with sexually?" He selected several youngsters out of the whole fenced area. Then those he selected were ones who had already been sexually abused. This was consistently done with several pedophiles. Another study confirms that 63% of women who had suffered sexual abuse by a family member also reported rape or attempted rape after the age of 14. That happened to me too. This is what I've come to call being spiritually tagged. Once a child has been marked or tagged, they seem to draw the abusers. They've been trained up to attract abusers, and then some blank out or disassociate or do not remember. Spiritually, I believe it puts like a magnet on that child that draws those type of people or demons to them. That's why God is so adamant that we protect our children. Mark 9:2. Whosoever shall offend one of these little ones, it's better for him that a millstone was hung about his neck and they were cast into the sea. Conversely, pedophiles today are lobbying to lower the age for consensual sex by 10 years. If we look across society, we see children in depression, low self esteem, hatred, guilt, shame, blame, sleep disturbances, lack of trust, re victimization, flashbacks, and dissociation, or where they're blanking out. Then older teens and even adults, we see grieving, alcohol, drug abuse, eating disorders, self injury, suicide, and yes, gender confusion. I would say we are in a near pandemic. We need to protect our children, be very careful about who they spend alone time with, including family. 93% of abusers are family or close acquaintances. And out of every 1,000 sexual assaults, only 310 are reported. My word of caution to you: be on guard. Satan is prowling around like a roaring lion to tag the children and train them up as young as he possibly can. Be aware. Hello? It's been 9 minutes, and once again, another reported evidence of a child being sexually abused. We must do something. Get this book, Train Her Up, for anyone you know who may have been affected by sexual abuse. There is a way out. Because of God, I made it through, but wouldn't it be better if we could prevent the abuse to begin with?
Well, I tell you, that is touching beyond belief right there. And I know that it took a lot of courage to write this book and to put that out, put your personal experiences out there. That has to be only God to allow you to be able to do that and then become a warrior for the Lord to help people out there that are going through this. And you said 1 out of 3 in 9 minutes for female and 1 out of 4 for males. Now, the book says train her up, but this book is for anybody, whether you're male or female, that's been sexually abused and you need to find a way out. There is a way out. Jesus is the way out. But this book right here will help you immensely in getting that direction that you need in order to be able to accomplish the work that needs to be done for you in your life. So I highly recommend this book to get it and to read it, pass it along. You can get it on Amazon. And again, B, where can they get that?
Go to your Google browser and type in Train Her Up, Wounded to Warrior by Bea Kaye,
Okay.
and it'll take you directly to Amazon. There's a glitch. If you go to Amazon, it's harder to find.
Right. I got you. And now you have, I noticed because I did read the book. That you had included a lot of sources for your information in the book. Would you like to expound on that a little bit?
The sources that I included were things to back up the statistics and the things that help to heal me. And so they're available. One of the book signings that I did, a girl looked up one of the sources and it helped her to further her healing when she read that book. So that's why they're in there.
Okay. A couple of things. You have talk a lot about your husband in the book. When did you share your information and how did he react?
Um, as it was coming to light, I shared it with him as I went along. It created friction, to say the least, because
Well,
it affected our intimacy
right.
in our life. But I have to say, and I have to say this without crying, he's a champion in that he was so patient and so loving with me as I went through it. And he is indeed my hero.
Well, I happen to know that gentleman, and I can testify to that 1000%. And, thank God you had a man like that to help you through this and be a part of that journey, as hard as it was to get you through. And don't cry, because I will start crying. Okay. So, again, if you just, excuse me, if you just joined us here, this is Compensating the Commission, and I'm the host, Bo Carver, and our mission is to help navigate the lost or misguided to freedom using Jesus as the compass. And what a great book this is to be a part of our type of presentation that we have on Compensating the Commission. And my guest is Bea Kaye, which is Beakaye, with this book, Train Her Up. And you had mentioned about being tagged. And I found that interesting because what you had talked about, the gentleman, I don't know if I should even say gentleman, but the pedophile that had picked out some folk or young children,
Mm-hmm.
and they had already been previously sexually abused.
Mm-hmm.
That tag, I know that's an evil thing. That's
Yeah.
a spirit that the evilness had been put on that individual
Yeah.
once they've been tagged.
And ironically, those were the only children in that yard that had been sexually abused.
Well, evil is real. And I
Mm-hmm.
think nowadays, with some of the things you're talking about, trying to lower the age of consent, which, and with what I had read in your book, could even take it down to 8 or 10 years old, depending on how that law was being read. It's astounding to me how we can allow those kind of things enter into our politics, let alone our life.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a real shocking to me. But you you had mentioned about the tag. How does someone get untagged?
Well, part of that is the healing, of which I talk about in the book. Um, it's the best way I know how to describe it is being spiritually cleansed, deliverance, and asking the Lord to get that out of you, kind of thing.
Well, I'm a big believer in the Holy Spirit doing that. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
once someone takes, we're talking, as I said, our commission was to the lost or misguided, but also the people that are followers of Christ can still be burdened and really held back in their life and have the evil still over the cloud over them. And
Mm-hmm.
so we're trying to talk to all three
Mm-hmm.
about this situation. If you're lost, the answer, and I believe you'd agree with this, B, is the closer that you can find someone or some way to get connected to Jesus, that's the number one step. And then allowing the Holy Spirit, that when Jesus does come into your life, allow the Holy Spirit to take over your life. And I believe Holy Spirit is our guide, and
Mm-hmm.
God, and the Holy Spirit, God will guide you through that as He did with you.
Mm-hmm.
And it may take a little journey. Not everything is always instantaneously, but as we can attest to this book and what B has in the book, she covers this all. She covers it all. It's a fantastic book, and I'm telling you, this will change your life if you're struggling with that. And I encourage you to do that, to get this book. And if some of you folk are tuned in on social media sites like Facebook, you can eye me under Bo Carver, and I will make sure you get it. This is also on the Compensating the Commission YouTube page. So any way that you feel like you need to get in touch with me to get this book, or otherwise go to Amazon, Google, and then search the book, Train Her Up,
Wounded to
Wounded to
warrior.
Warrior, and it'll take you to Amazon to get the book. Uh, One other question here. What do you What's your hope of accomplishing with writing of this book?
Well, it is not sales of the book for sure. I've spoken this message to a couple of other, well, many other venues, and each time that I speak, there is a soul touched who is redirected to the Lord. And when I do book signings, I always sign it "Lock Eyes on the Lord." Lock eyes.
Beautiful.
And when I was going through it, I would describe to people I have a pit bull grip on God, and I ain't letting go.
Well, I think we all should have that, whether
Yeah.
we've been sexually abused or most everybody in a lot of people's lives been through a lot of things that can overtake them in really bad ways. We know that alcoholism, drug addiction, all
Hmm.
those things like that. And there's many more that people get, you know, get tagged with. I'm going to use
Hmm.
that term, and it takes the Holy Spirit to get them out of that.
Hmm.
And that's what you need to do is become a bulldog for God, and God be in you to help you unleash those issues that you may have. I can't thank you enough for being a part of our broadcast today. Is there anything you'd like to say before we close?
Well, I just pray that anyone who hears this who either has been sexually abused or knows someone who's sexually abused, that this book, or, feel free to message me or contact me, will be able to be healed. It's not necessarily a quick healing process, but uh, getting on the other side is, as I say, a joyful warrior.
Well, I do know that when we have issues like we have, the evil one is rampant in our
Mm,
world. Uh, Eliminating pedophiles, sexual abuse is probably going to be impossible till the Lord returns. But we have an advocate with the Father through our faith. And this is the whole point. We probably can't accomplish getting rid of all that, but what we can do is accomplish getting rid of that in your life, which is the answer we're trying to get across to you today. Again, my guest is Bea Kaye. This is her book,
I,
train her up, becoming a wounded sexual abuse to joyful prayer warrior. Now, what a powerful statement that is, because that's really turning the table right there,
mhm.
becoming a joyful prayer warrior. And I know this family, and they are golden. And I know that because of the Holy Spirit that's in their lives, it's become their journey and their mission. B, thanks a lot.
I just a quick note. I
Sure.
do have a Facebook page as under
Okay.
BK and Instagram.
Okay. Well, there you go. So you can go to Facebook under BEAKAYE, and under Instagram,
Same.
same BAEKAYE. Again, what a great way to get things settled in your life if you're having these kind of issues. Get the book, share it, read it, and get in touch with somebody if you need some help with that. Get in touch with me, get in touch with B in the ways we just explained. And thank you so much. And until our next episode of Accomplishing the Commission, be safe out there and let God bless you immensely.